So there used to be something weird looking about the win rate graphs on champion.gg for total games played on a champion versus win rate, which was there would actually um, be a sort of peak at maybe 50 to 125 games, and at 125 games plus, it would actually start decreasing, which is weird because what you would expect is that those graphs would be monotonically increasing, which means at no point in the graph would it be decreasing, because you would think that people would just be getting more and more experience on their champions and be getting better and better at them, um, and there's no point, at some point where a player has more games on a champion that they're actually worse at them. So it seems odd that the win rate would actually be lower with more games on the champion. So I looked at a bunch of players and was just like, okay, well, this guy has, 70 games on Tom Kench with a 53% win rate. So then you just put that as a data point for like, okay, um, 70, 53%. And yeah, strangely enough, there was this high point at, 50 or 100 games where after that, it seems like the more people play a certain champion, the lower their win rate is on that champion. I mean, it doesn't um, go down below 50%, but it does sort of go down towards 50%. And this is pretty weird because you would expect that the more games someone's played on a champion, the better they get at that champion. Um, and so you would think, again, it would just only increase, or at least it wouldn't decrease. Um, and so the question is, why is this happening? So, there were some explanations, but none really fully explain why someone with only 50 games would actually be more successful than someone with, more games who is presumably better at the champion. But I think the answer isn't actually in the data itself, it's how it was collected. So I think I made the same mistake in collecting it that champion.gg did, which is going the intuitive way of doing it and just looking at someone who's played this many games has this win rate on the champion, which is, it sounds like the right way to do it, but is what actually leads to this weird looking graph with a higher win rate at like 50 games than at 1,000 games. And the problem is actually in the win rate statistic because it includes all the games you've ever played on a champion. But that means that it also includes, of maybe 50 games, it includes your first 10 games. So the problem is people are much more likely to keep playing a champion that they were initially successful on. So chances are in those inflated looking, 50 game win rate statistics, they're inflated because um, a lot of those players won their first few games on a champion and decided to keep playing it. So they're starting from this position of having a bunch of wins um, that they essentially just got lucky for. Um, because if they had just lost, then they would have left that champion at like 5 games instead of playing more of it. And then obviously once they, play a lot of that champion, like 1,000 games, the first lucky games don't matter as much, and they go down to their, 51 or 52% win rate that they should have. So the right way to actually do win rate would, instead of looking at someone's total win rate versus the number of games played, just look at their chance to win their like nth game played and aggregate that. So if someone has 75 Tom Kench games and they're playing their 76th Tom Kench game, um, just look at that one game, game number 76, and throw that in with a bunch of other people's game number 76, and use that as the win rate in game number 76. Um, and I think this is Champion.gg realized that was the better way to do it and started doing that. You wouldn't initially do that because it's just more work. I actually have not tried it myself because I'm too lazy and have a beach to enjoy. So I'm not going to spend all my time on this, but I'm pretty sure if you did it that way and um, just looked at what's the chance to win the nth game specifically, and not what is your win rate overall at end games, then you would see the sort of um, monotonically increasing graph that you would expect from the natural progression of getting better and better to champion.